Hello, grüezi, servus, and of course, g'day. I'm your host Tolly, and you are tuned in to Tollescope. Thank you for watching, and I hope you do keep watching. Now, this time around on Tollescope, I would like to continue on in the Australian theme. Last video was of my old HD Vanessa. And in that Australian theme, I'm going to go to my favourite Australian bird, one of my Australian favourites, which is the cockatoo. Very loud. Although they annoy farmers in their great numbers and disseminating crops, unfortunately, they are a national treasure. The yellow-crested cockatoo. So please enjoy. And so we're starting off with just the basics of our cockatoo. Getting into some feathers and basic shapes. This one is not going to concentrate on perspective so much, being more of a character piece. So once again, drawing from memory. It was great growing up in Australia, and I think that the sort of style of gum trees, all of those beautiful trees have certainly stuck with me. I'm kind of relearning it here in Switzerland. So many mountains and very, very different trees. But this is a bit of a memory, this one. A little homage to the great Australian cocky. So blocking in on a sketch layer here, really rough, with a bit of a horizon and in the background. I'm doing a bit of resizing here. The great pleasures of Photoshop, being able to resize things as you see fit. And I decided I just wanted to do something looser. So I'm using different brushes, trying out different brushes, and going in with a bit of colour and some really bold, solid shapes rather than so much line work. I wanted this to be more of a have more of a movement and an action to it. And of course, cockies are they're all solid white, which allows for a bit of interpretation with directional feather lines and shading, etc. Making a mask here, just to work on the figure individually. As I said, working with a bit more colour in this piece and no doubt it'll change. Really, it's just about playing in this drawing, seeing what I feel looks good, seeing how it works out, changing things as I go. As I said, there's no real perspective rules here. It's just foreground and background. And here I'm making a mask for the leaves. Just it's a working mask, really. Just so that I know which part I'm drawing on. So clearly turning off layers, turning them back on again. Working around the drawing. I guess that's one thing that doesn't change, is that you still need to work around the entire drawing. Clearly a very different working process than just perspective structure lines. Using a lot of blocking entire areas to give the base for colour and tone later on. It always seems to be, for me, at any rate, I'm always thinking, how is this fitting in with my my initial decision to be rough and broad brush strokes in style. I have to hold myself back from pushing too quickly into detail. So trying to cover entire areas, choosing colours clearly, changing my mind, changing layers, pulling things forward, pushing things back. And at points like this little chapter of just covering ground, covering the real estate of where the leaves will be, and pulling back to see how that fits compositionally. And so, okay, I've done that. I've turned those layers off, and then get into another area. At this point, getting into the landscape, the background. Giving that a feeling of the earthiness. For me, that colour was quite important. That red sand, the old Australian outback, red earth. And once again, tiny details, pushing things further away, off into the distance. And how much detail do you go into? Okay, layers back on just to have a look. Off again, getting into that detail. And layers back on. Get into a bit of shading here. This is a darkest blue, but only at about 10%, so that with the stylus I need to actually use a bit of pressure to get the width out of the brush. And I just wanted to work up the shading in the feathers very gradually. You very easily knock it out of the park with too heavy a brush stroke. So there I'm just going back in and taking a bit of the contrast out of that. And now leaves. So how far do you go with the leaves before you have to get into the edge of every single one? And if I cover it all uniformly, then does that make it too bland, too flat? I need to let some difference happen, some alteration to the color composition. I can't just use a carpet approach to the whole thing. And working in a bit of shading here for the branches. Again, ask the question, is it too uniform? Am I treating every branch the same way? Needs a bit of variation here, a bit of variation there. I'll just get rid of the cockatoo for a bit. Away with you, cocky. I'll just work on the background. And a little more contrast. Always working with the entire frame, the entire piece in mind, seeing where it needs a bit more, pull this forward, push this back, what's working, what's not working. And then at certain points, realizing that you do need to cover some ground. And I quite liked the brush that I'd found there, offering a few highlights without being too specific. Let me know in the comments if you like the color, if you like the open, loose brush style, if you'd like to see more of that sort of drawing, or whether you like the rather more scientific aspect of structured perspective. And again, experimenting with brushes and tones. This is very much a new method for me, this loose brush stroke sort of feeling, but I guess I was wanting to get into a character sort of piece, a loose conceptual character sort of piece, rather than just X and Y grids and solid methodical perspective. I thought I'd go for a bit of expressiveness. A few little touch-ups there. And thought I'd like to do another version of our cocky. Just to see how that felt as well. A bit of a sense of motion. They're never stationary, so I thought I'd do another version of him. They have a very uniquely shaped beak. And the thing I like about cockatoos is that they always look happy. And very much a piece where I have been feeling my way into it, literally, with the brush. No, didn't like that. Too shadowy. So go back and experiment some more with some light tones. Some light shade rather than the deep. And always reminding myself to keep a loose hand, not get too tight anywhere. And a few final touches there. Just a few things to get that edge going, that final edge. And looking pretty good. Bit of a jump scare. I hope that was alright. If you liked it, then please comment. Maybe I'll try and do some more of that sort of animation. Quite enjoyed it. If indeed you did like it, then please let me know in the comments. There's also lots of other options. Subscription, which would be fantastic, helps me a lot on the channel. Likes, sharing, that would really help me a lot. Or if you're really keen on supporting the channel and keeping me drawing, then you can become a member on Patreon. Links everywhere in the banner to the right. And that will indeed encourage me to keep on drawing for you and providing more, well, hopefully wonderful content. So thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers!